welcome to the Workforce Experience in the Hub. We're so glad to have you here. I want to take an opportunity to thank our sponsor of the Hub, Energy Impact Partners. Thank you again for your support. I am Courtney Peterson, Vice President, Chief Diversity Officer, and Chief Human Resources Officer for EEI, and I am delighted to be your host here in the Hub this afternoon. We have a fantastic program that has brought together Duke Energy, St. Petersburg College, and the Pinellas County Urban League. Before we get started with our discussion, I invite you to watch a brief video about how our panelists and their organizations are partnering to train future line workers.
I worked 35 years at Duke Energy, and Duke Energy is very structured. My name is Steve Magenheimer. Basically, these are entry-level type tasks they're being taught. They do come out with several certifications. The climbing probably is the hardest thing. They're very green. They never climbed a pole before. When they're complete here, they're ready to go, entry level in a power company or a contractor.
Duke Energy approached Pinellas County Urban League with efforts to diversify their line worker program. The reason why it's very important to recruit diverse students for the program because the program represents the community that it's serving. After several meetings, it kind of transformed into the SBC line worker program. It's not just the hard skills they need that they're learning to become linemen, it's those soft skills they need to go through the interview process, and also once they get on a job to be able to handle those different conversations.
Jermel comes to the class every day with 150% attitude. He's always trying to lift his peers.
My name is Jamel Dowse, and I was born here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I told my grandmother that I actually wanted to be an electrician. She saw the ad with the Urban League and sent me there. They took us through a one-day boot camp where they actually took us to the Duke facility, and we got to see the hands-on and live demonstrations of how the electricity works. And it was like I fell in love with it at first sight.
Funding from Duke Energy has been tremendous. They call this the Duke Energy pipeline. Students from our first cohort, 11 out of 14, have gotten life-changing careers. To know that I had a part in teaching them to get them started and give them good work habits, good safety habits, and be able to build their career, it gives me goosebumps.
I don't know about you, but I am really excited to hear more about this phenomenal program. So let me introduce our incredible panel. First, we have Melissa Seixas, who is the Florida State President for Duke Energy. We have Dean Belenthia Berry from St. Petersburg College, Dean of Workforce. And we have Watson Haynes, who is the President and CEO of the Pinellas County Urban League. Melissa, maybe we can start with you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and about why this is something you're so passionate about.
Well, you know, every time I watch that video, I just sit here and smile. You know, I think the longevity of employees in our industry, Steve Magenheimer, who was highlighted, I've known for 30 years before he retired from Duke Energy. So carrying that on to the next generation, and that's really kind of what we have been focused on, is making sure that we are hiring diverse candidates into our workforce, not just for today, but for tomorrow. Because when I think about when I started with the company, I was 19 years old. I was called kid for the first 5 or 6. And so now I'm at the point where I'm thinking about, you know, towards the end of my career. So we need someone who will step into my role one day, someone who will step into our very experienced line workers, engineers, power plant operators. So we are so thrilled with the outcome of this particular program, and we are looking at creating a similar partnership with other state colleges across the state, but it all started with St. Pete College.
Oh, that's a beautiful segue. Thank you. So, Dean Berry, tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're passionate about this work.
Well, I'm Dean Berry. I've been in workforce for the last 15 years. You would think, oh man, she's young. I am young. But I love this work. I love this work because I get to work with industry, businesses, students, education, and providing the latest and greatest of the world of work. And that's the next program. What is that? The next technology and software. And we've seen that through our partnership with Duke and Urban League. It has been an amazing partnership. Just the success stories from our students is the passion that drives me each and every day. Because guess what? They're non-traditional. Our students come from all walks of life. Women, men, they're single, they're married, they've lost their job, you name it. They've been through life. But this next career and the future of work, that's what they're ready for. And that's what excites me about this program.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Dean Barry. Watson, tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do and why you're passionate about it.
Well, certainly being with the Urban League, I was actually with the Urban League when it was founded. I was a supporter of the Urban League. I actually started working for the Urban League about 10 years ago. And it was Duke, Michael Lewis called one day, and Michael was vice president of Duke, and said, I want to talk to you about a program. And I said, okay. And Michael came down with 2 other vice presidents of the Urban League, and I'm like, wow, what is this all about? And he says, we want to hire some residents of St. Petersburg, preferably from the African American community. And I said, okay, he's got this dream. How do he think I'm going to find 4 people in St. Petersburg to be linespersons? And I said, well, and then one of the guys said, oh, here's what we'll do. I know some people in Jacksonville, and we can get them to send us some people to fill these jobs. And Michael said, no, I want them from St. Petersburg, and I want the Urban League to find them. I'm like, wow. And I had to base that on a 40-year relationship with the Urban League. Ever since we were founded, there was someone on our board from Duke Energy. We've always had that support. So we had to now go back to our relationship. And that relationship is what got us started.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Watson. Melissa, tell us why this program is a good fit for Duke Energy.
A lot of it has to do with what Watson just mentioned, this decades-long partnership that we've had with the Urban League. We had kind of already in place, I'll say, the infrastructure to tap into, but it was kind of bringing them in to the conversation of what we needed. We knew that it wasn't always easy to bring people to us. The Urban League helped us to go to the people. And if we didn't have that relationship with the Urban League and we had to start kind of from scratch, there's that time that takes to build trust. And so we were able to kind of expedite what we wanted to accomplish. But so critical, as he mentioned, it's very important to us at Duke Energy that our workforce reflects our communities. We have a very diverse geography here in Florida, from very rural to very urban areas like Orlando and the Tampa Bay market. And we want to have employees who join us who feel like they want to stay because they are rooted not just in hopefully what will be with the company, but because their families are there. But they also have such a great opportunity to go into almost any career within the industry. And I will tell you, there's nothing better than spending time at this program and talking to the candidates. And on the first cohort, they started February of last year. I think they finished about 13 weeks. I had the opportunity to meet all of them, the graduates, at a Tampa Bay Rays game. And I will tell you, their energy, their enthusiasm, it made me kind of remember and think about just my excitement being able to work for this industry. They graduated on a Friday, and I think nearly every single one of them had jobs to start on Monday.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Dean Barry, we would love to hear more about some of the key aspects of the program and how the program is doing.
The program is doing great. We have a wait list of over 400 of individuals wanting to be a part of this program. We have a 77% completers rate with stackable credentials, meaning that they can become linemen and actually go into 40 other career pathways within the industry. And also a 50% job placement rate, And so we're working with those individuals who haven't been placed because, it comes around every so often where we're making sure that those individual skills are matched where they need to be. Not everyone is equipped to be a lineman, but we can get you in the next phase of where you need to go. And so right now the program's doing wonderful. We love our partnership with Urban League, with Duke. We have an extra instructor who's teaching at night so we can meet the needs of the community. So we have a night and weekend cohort. So 4 cohorts down and more to go.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It's incredible. Watson, I would love to hear from you about the importance of bringing in the local community and hiring locally. Why is that so important and significant?
Well, it's important because when you look at many of these low-income communities, people don't feel that, that they're going to get the right shake. And they wonder if a company is just advertising, make the numbers, say we reached out, and that's what we did. And Duke was actually serious about it. And we took one of our millennials. I figured, I said, the young lady that I assigned this project, I said, she's got a lot of energy and she can think outside of the box. I will not think outside of the box. I would tell them, we can't find them, they're not out there, and they don't want to work. And she just kind of said, well, let's do this. We got Duke Energy involved in the design of our recruitment. I mean, we had employees from Duke Energy who had been there a long time, did not have to show up. They showed up at all of the sessions to talk about what it means to work at Duke Energy and what it's like. And one of the guys said, look, here's my phone number. He wrote on it, this is my cell phone. If you need to call me at 2 o'clock in the morning to ask me a question about this job or you need some direction, you call me. And he said, I'll answer the phone and I will help you out. And person after person from Duke came through to talk about, it's about safety. It's about looking out for not only the customers, but yourself. But it's also about giving you the kind of job that you don't need 3 jobs. And we had people came in who had, one guy had 3 daughters he was trying to raise, working 3 jobs. I don't know how you do it. And we talked him into the program. He tested out everything. And we said, well, why haven't you tried? He said, I've applied to Duke Energy online, but this is the first time I got a chance to show up and hear from Duke Energy. And these guys really sound serious. And he went from that to being hired at Duke Energy. The girls are living with him. He owns his own home now, and he has 1 job. And that's the beauty of it. We tell people we create millionaires.
Right.
And when they hear that, we're like, you create millionaires? How you do that? We create them by creating the environment for them to work and the environment for them to be productive. And we offer a lot of additional services. So if a guy comes and says, I've got a problem with my kids, he can tell us about it, then we can put him on our youth programs. Can't pay his electric bill, then we'll pay it for him.
Wow.
It's those kind of things that we do because we want them working. And the flavor that we receive when people come in and says, thank you. And I mean, they actually show up and say thank you. And that's the hope that Duke Energy gives to people who already believe there was no hope for them.
That is such an all-in commitment and incredible. And it's just incredible. Melissa, are there aspects of the program that help prepare people for the job interview process or sort of going through that may be new to some of these individuals?
Absolutely, and that was a big part of it. We had, of course, like many industries or companies in this field, done our own internal training, and but it was very focused on the physical aspect of the job, passing those kinds of tests. But this whole model really started with a boot camp that we did with the Urban League, where we brought members in from the community and kind of gave them a day in the life of a line worker. And what we realized very quickly is that it wasn't just the physical aspect of it. We needed to prepare these candidates for the interview itself. So we did. We worked with them on interview skills and talked to them about things like the drug test and just help them. In some ways, a lot of these candidates were more worried about the interview process, resume, those kinds of things, than they were about, climbing a 45-foot pole. So that, goes to show you kind of how that can be intimidating for those who haven't been prepared. So that is a big part of what we do so that we can ease them, kind of ease their fears a little bit, help them hone their confidence, and so that they can kind of have a level playing field going into the interview.
That's great. And it speaks to the comprehensive nature and how thoughtful this program is.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, Dean Barry, we would love to hear some of the success stories. Everyone loves a good success story, and I'm sure you have so many. But can you tell us a little bit about how some of the graduates are doing? And
The graduates are doing well. This past May, we were able to have them attend graduation. So they were part of the graduation ceremony, and they were able to walk across the stage like any other Titan in our area. And also, I want to also add that we have our first young woman in our cohort class at night who's interested in the program, so we're excited about that. But our students are just amazing. I'll give you one. Jesse Smith. He lived with his mom. He said he wasn't really motivated. He was attending one of our AS degree programs, and he says, Belenthia, I was doing engineering. I'm like, wow, do I really want to do this job? Then he saw the opportunity for a line worker, and he applied, he got in, and he loved it. He said that was his spark. This was his career. This is what he wanted to do. And so he went through, he passed all of his certifications. He's now placed with Duke, and he says, Belenthia, Dean Barry, I no longer live with my mom.
True sign of success.
True sign of success. I have my own space, my own place. I have money, and I feel confident that when I go to work, I'm at the same playing field as everyone else that's there. And for us, that's success.
Yeah.
So
That's huge success.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Melissa, so are there thoughts about expanding this model across the state? Tell us about what you guys are thinking.
Absolutely. And we have a Relay Tech program with Lake Sumter State College. We are talking to at least 3 or 4 other state colleges. We invited members from across educational forums and institutions to come visit the program back in April. People came from Tallahassee, they came from Central Florida, and they were genuinely excited about this. So yes, we are in conversation with several other state colleges. And this isn't just about hiring directly for Duke Energy, because we truly believe that any of these candidates that are successful who go on to maybe work in other parts of Florida, maybe for Tampa Electric or Florida Power and Light or a co-op, eventually they're going to end up helping us just like we're going to help them through mutual aid, responding to storms. And so we see it as a benefit, not just to Duke Energy, but to the industry. So yes, and we are looking forward to partnering with other utilities too to get them excited in their respective areas. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that one of the really other critical partners in this has been Powertown, and Steve Magenheimer, who's the gentleman who is the instructor, worked for us, retired, but now works for Powertown. So when I go to visit, I see these instructors who literally I've known since they were, young 20-something-year-old linemen. I joke with them. I'm like, now be careful. You're not quite as young as you used to be. But they are so enthused and energized, as Steve said, knowing that they're taking their institutional knowledge and really passing that on to the next generation. And that's such a great way. For your own sense of what you do with your career, that you are truly paying it forward.
Absolutely. So speaking of impacting the industry, so Watson, I'm curious from your perspective, since we have the industry in the room, what more can our industry be doing?
Well, and I think that the beauty of this was the fact that Duke Energy was willing to take the risk to say, you know, give these guys a chance. And then you had employees at Duke who said, you know, somebody gave me a chance, and I want to give that back. And that's what we received. Now, some 20 guys that, now I say guys, they're not guys, there are a couple women there also. The program does not discriminate, that's for sure, and we've got an open door on that. But when you take the 20 guys that we looked at, who we brought on board, it represents $1.5 million for those 20 families. $1.5 million a year. And when you think about that and multiply it out by years, you've just created a class of people that never existed and never thought that they had the opportunity to work in this industry because it was closed. And so here it's open, but it's open to others. We had a guy who went to Duke and was interviewing, and the guy asked him, well, I see you have some engineering. He said, yeah, I was an engineer. I don't talk about that because nobody hires me. And the guy talked to somebody in the engineering department and said, I want you to talk to this guy. And he got hired. And he got hired because he just told the truth, but it was kind of like nobody was hiring engineers, and I was not being hired, and I took all of this stuff. And here he is working right now in a very good job. That's the kind of thinking outside of the box that happens when you bring people in who you never thought really wanted the job. And so Duke opened that door. Thankful to the relationship we've had with them a long time. St. Petersburg College, you know, I'm a graduate of St. Petersburg College, so naturally anything for St. Petersburg College is going to happen. In addition to Dr. Tanja Williams, who has, golly, unbelievably stayed on top of this program, and I know Melissa would talk about the challenges she had every time she went somewhere, and Dr. Williams was there, and Dr. Williams would not leave her alone. And so,
That's right.
but the relationships and the partnerships were wide open, and we could talk straight up with applicants for those jobs and for that training, and be honest with them. You didn't get it, you did get it. If you didn't get it, then we got something else for you because we've got other companies now reach out. This is a white paper of the National Urban League, this project is. And it's been for the past 3 or 4 years now. And now that we've been able to hand it off to the college to really delve into this stuff, because we didn't have money for staff either. We just did it because of the faith and trust we had in Duke Energy. And it's proven well.
Thank you, Watson. Melissa and Dean Barry, I want to give you each a chance to offer any sort of closing comments, words of advice or wisdom for anyone in the room who may feel inspired by this conversation and may want to replicate this model. Want me to go?
Well, I said, partner with your local community college. They're here. We're open to workforce programs, what you have. Business and industry sets the example of what we do in education and how we move forward. And so we need you at the table, and that's what Duke provided. Urban League provided, those wraparound services we need to support the students that we serve. And without you, we would not exist, because what we provide you is the talent that you need. And so I just encourage you to go back to your home states, wherever you are, look for an Urban League, look for a community college, and partner. Take this blueprint and let's create the future of the workforce that you need in your community. And it's been wonderful. So thank you.
So from a Duke Energy perspective, I think you saw the financial investment that we made, but it's really well beyond kind of the financial investment. Right. There's kind of an interdisciplinary approach to this, because we've had our labor workforce leaders, line personnel themselves, senior executives who have been involved in this. And so there is such kind of skin in the game from a really great cross-section of our employee base. Our employees feel so strongly about this that they reached out to our foundation, which was another really critical part of our ability to get this off the ground. And this matters so much to them that they wanted to work with the foundation manager to figure out a way where they could contribute directly to funding scholarships for those candidates who weren't able to meet the financial fee. That says a whole lot, right? That the employees aren't saying, well, the company's going to pay for it. They wanted to make a financial contribution. So it truly is, it just involves so many aspects of your respective companies. And I think that just makes it all the more stronger.
Perfect. Thank you all. I am sad to say that our time has come to an end. I want to thank our guests, Melissa Seixas, Dean Barry, Watson Haynes, for joining us for this inspiring conversation. We appreciate your time and applaud your incredible work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now it is my pleasure to introduce an exciting tech talk next, applying AI to predict and prevent worker safety incidents. So please join me in welcoming Julian Marin, who's Senior Vice President of Sales for Urbint, to the stage.
Okay.
Thanks for the introduction.
Of course.
Okay, everybody. All right. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity today to present a little bit about our company, Urbint. As the intro said, I'm Julian Marin. I'm the head of commercial operations for Urbint. The company, what we do, essentially, we are a software development company that uses artificial intelligence to enhance software and identify operational risks in utilities, telecommunication companies, and other underground asset owners. Now, operational risk is obviously, not to be inflammatory, but at an all-time high. We've got aging infrastructure scenario combined with extreme weather conditions, and all of this is really compounding into raising the operational risk that energy companies across the globe are facing. And of course, when we have to address some of these incidents, we're really talking about deploying our staff into the field for outages, for maintenance work, for new capital projects and construction. Now, I will give kudos where kudos is due. The utility industry has done a fantastic job imbibing a safety culture, putting in safety policies and procedures that are going to really have an impact. The total recordable injury rate has dropped significantly over the last decade, and that's a success that should be celebrated. Unfortunately, what we are seeing is that the fatality rate is a perennial problem that has flatlined. And what that means is it likely requires new approaches, new methodologies to tackle this challenge, this problem. And the problem is vast, unfortunately. In the United States, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 5,000 workers every year over the last 2 decades have lost their lives on the job. Now, luckily, this is not a utility-specific statistic, but every industry contributes to this unfortunate number. And now, of course, as been discussed here at EEI this week, we've got new federal investment that's coming in and bringing an unprecedented volume of renewal, replacement work, investment in this infrastructure. We're going to see some utilities undergrounding a lot of their assets and so on and so forth. More work means deploying more personnel into the field, and more personnel into the field means more risks. And a recent study has been done. The findings were actually quite interesting. In pre-safety briefings, so pre-job, before the work starts, and toolbox talks and pre-job briefings, it's identified that the workers themselves can only identify about half of the hazards that they would face on their work site. Now, that's pretty significant. Now, we all know that work sites tend to be a busy place. You might be working next to a highway, there's vehicles, high-speed vehicles going by, busy urban areas, and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of contributing factors to that. But if you look at the causality in terms of some of these safety incidents, a lot of them are actually driven by combination of factors, knock-on effects. And these knock-on effects include a variety of contributing elements that are sometimes difficult to pinpoint, to analyze, leading to why a lot of our field workers can only identify part of the risks that they face on a daily basis. And so because the analysis is complex to do, this is where AI can step in and support. That's the exciting part. This is where we can actually take advantage not of Skynet, but of a software that can actually come and support the operations that's aligned with the goals that we want to reach. And so through AI, we have the power to increase our hazard recognition, and with that hazard recognition, take preventative steps that allow us to mitigate those injuries and potential fatalities. So our company has developed, in partnership with two of the largest North American utilities, Urbint lens for worker safety. I like to say that we're a little bit in the crystal ball business. We can, with our platform and with the help of our AI models, forecast risks that are coming up in the next day, in the next few days, into the week look ahead, using a variety of factors. And by identifying those risks proactively, we allow for preventative measures to be put in place. And so we like to put these applications in the hands of the planners, the doers, the folks in the field that can action on this new insight that they don't have visibility into today. Now, these are a variety of scenarios that you're all probably very familiar with. And in order to determine what leads to potential safety scenarios, you'd have to think of hundreds of factors. What is the experience of the worker, their certification? How many times have they done a certain type of job? Is it the first or the third time they're doing said type of work? How long have they been on shift that week? And then you have to look at environmental factors. Are they working on a slope, or are they working in elevations? Is there winds that could affect the risk of the job on that day? Are they working in a trenching environment where there's been water accumulation for the last 3 days, making it riskier? And then, of course, our model also consumed the energy-based hazards from EI's safety classification learning model, churns through these hundreds of parameters to identify where risky work is happening, what the proper controls would be to mitigate that risk. And that's what we like to put in the hands of the folks that can action on it. So from safety managers to construction supervisors to lone workers, whether they're using our application or feeding the output, the calculations, analysis of our application to their work management system, we can move that insight into folks that can action on that, whether it's improving job safety briefings, toolbox talks, whether it's doing hazards and controls, job hazard analysis, whether it's capturing recorded high energy observation and storing that not on paper, as unfortunately is most of the case today, but in a system that can collect that data, that we can analyze, that we can look at trends, and that can bring both the operational side and the safety and environmental health and safety groups together into a single actionable platform. And that is very much our goal. So the question really is, if you could have a crystal ball, what would you do with it? If you could anticipate where risks are happening, how would you change your day-to-day operations? Would you send your safety managers perhaps to the riskiest work sites that are happening instead of sending them to the work site that might be closest to your office that day? Could you make an impact by removing the bias that all humans have when they do their hazard analysis and leaving that up to an unbiased artificial intelligence engine? And so the goal really is to save lives. And that is part of the mission that we've embarked on. And really our vision is a world with zero safety incidents. And we want to do that collaboratively by supporting the industry, supporting the utility, our customers and our prospective customers, by working together and help put this actionable information in the hands of people that can use it and better it over time so that eventually we can prevent all injuries and fatalities. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Pleasure.
Okay, so next I would like to introduce Kelcey Brown, who is President and CEO of MidAmerican Energy, and she's going to discuss the Veterans and Energy Program with us. Welcome to the stage, Kelcey. Thank you.
I think I'm standing in between you and lunch, potentially. So, but this is a really important update, especially for me. I actually am a veteran. I started with Veterans and Energy. Thank you. in 2015, prior to my role as president and CEO of MidAmerican Energy, and it really is a tremendous thing that I really just didn't have an understanding of the impact that that organization would have, not only on my own life, but also just really what the impact our veteran ERGs have within our companies. Right now, and I think the discussion earlier about we're really doing a lot of new and innovative things to go out and find employees for our jobs right now. It's a very competitive work environment, and we have to be creative. And I think ERGs have become a great tool to not only attract employees into our companies, but also to retain them. And the veteran ERGs, I think, provide that tremendous support internally, not just from a company perspective, but also, too, for the veteran, especially when they're coming in straight from detaching from the military. There's always going to be a challenge in that transition, going from an environment where you have a very defined career path, you know exactly how you go about that, you have chain of command, you have camaraderie, and you have a mission. You feel like you matter in that organization. And when you go into the private sector, a lot of times there's going to be a lot of transition and challenges with that. And so your veteran ERGs are really that key to, one, leapfrogging a lot of those challenges that our veterans face when they first enter your company, one, by navigating maybe even some of the VA resources that are available to them, but also, two, the first job that they take within those companies are not usually the job that they stay in. They don't always know exactly what they want to do, and I think they don't always understand how that they can find other opportunities within the company. And Veterans and Energy, I think, is a big part of this. It helps companies, and not just obviously electric utilities, but also their partners. We recently had Pike, we've had Lewis Tree Services, Asplin Services. Really, this involves all of our energy partners across the industry, but it really provides that best practices for, one, getting an ERG started, which it did for Berkshire Hathaway Energy and MidAmerican. When I was exposed to really what these ERGs did and why they were so important, I immediately started that at our company, and it has grown tremendously. We also have started other ERGs, but our veteran ERG has really been the foundation of so many of those efforts. They participate in every single event that we have, but also there's that community involvement that it also provides. And, and I'll just share one anecdote, because a lot of times we all do community involvements. We have CARES programs, and they tend to be very structured. I know within our own organization and in Iowa, we have some very rural areas that don't always have the best services for veterans. And I know recently someone was aware of a veteran who had located in a rural area and was struggling with PTSD and finding his place. And he reached out to or knew one of our service center employees who got him in touch with our ERG. And they are providing the support and help that that individual needs. So really, I think the commitment to your communities, but also just, I think what that does for our companies is just truly incredible. So I really can't say enough about what the organization provides, just in terms of, one, I think giving the best practices for our veteran ERGs so that they can be successful within each of our companies. And two, we do also have an annual forum that we do on an annual basis, obviously. And we've had multiple speakers there that I think, for example, Commander Leopold Kirk, he was the commander of the USS Cole when it was hit in Yemen. And he told about his story, and from a leadership perspective, it was truly incredible. And I think in the storm responses that we have, it was very interesting just to hear some of the parallels of going into those situations. I mean, obviously, that's going to be a very extreme situation, but at the same time, the campaigns that you have from a military perspective are very similar to when we go into these large storms where we have to manage a significant amount of resources, and also communication challenges, obviously personnel challenges. So there's so many things that really, I think we want for veterans to be able to come into our industry and feel like they can be part of that. And I think they have the skill set, certainly, that we all need. So this really is just kind of an awareness of, the organization that is there. And if you are interested in starting your own ERGs, becoming part of one, please reach out to our organization or to myself, and I'm happy to put you into contact with that. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelcey. It's always great to be reminded of these kinds of resources, and what Veterans and Energy does for our military veterans is is just definitely unmatched, so we appreciate that. Okay, so this wraps up our workforce experience in the Hub. I hope that you all enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something new. Thank you again to our Hub sponsor, Energy Impact Partners. As you can see, lunch is being set up around us, so we'll be able to enjoy that very soon. Following lunch, don't miss our breakout sessions, and then please meet us back here at 3:20 for the electric transportation experience in the Hub. You're not going to want to miss that. Thank you for being here.